Audio. Audio is a huge topic, and it gets really complex really fast. But in terms of zero budget media and filming with your phone, you have one choice, and that is to get close. And by close, I don't mean close. I just mean you need to be within range of what the phone's microphones were designed for, which for the selfie phone is about as far away as you can hold it. And for the rear-facing camera, maybe twice that distance at most. The farther you are from the subject or the sound that you want to hear, the more background noise is going to be evident in the sound. Your ear is actually really good at picking out the things it wants to hear and ignoring the rest. Ask any spouse. But the microphone can't do that. We have to do that by getting close. For example, so the key to sounding good with the phone is to be close to it. That's it. That's all you can do. Because no matter how good the phone is, if you're far away, no matter how loud you're speaking, it's not going to sound good. It's just not. Even sort of half far away doesn't really sound all that good. The microphones on these guys are designed for this distance. So it's about as far away as your hand is. That's what it's designed for. So all you can do, get about this close. There you have it. Stay close. If you're shooting with your smartphone and you want to understand clearly what your subject is saying, whether it's an elder describing the history of a place or an instructor giving a lesson about something, you're going to want to be as close as you can to catch what they're saying within the spec that the microphone is designed for, which is going to be from 3 to 5, maybe 6 feet, kind of at most. That doesn't mean that you can't use the audio if you're farther away. Get it. If that's the only thing you can get it. It's just going to sound better if you're close. So keep that in mind when you're out in the field.
So this is what we call portrait mode, and it's how we tend to use our phones most of the time. Works really well for video conferencing because you're seeing the most important thing in a talking head video, which is the talking head. However, there's nothing to either side and not a whole lot above or behind, so there's no real sense of context. I mean, the most you can do is kind of like, show the phone around. If you want to widen out, there's nowhere to go. So unless you have a really good reason to be shooting in portrait mode, I recommend you shoot in landscape mode all the time. See, in landscape mode, you can see more context, and I can keep myself in the frame while I'm showing you the background if I want, or I can put myself front and center. Pretty easy. And since I'm shooting in 4K, in this case, I can crop in to get a portrait view from this if I really want. So landscape view is the way to go unless you have a really, 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 really good reason to be shooting in portrait.
But you're probably going to be filming by yourself quite a bit, or you will be the person focused on filming with whatever group you're in. So that means if you're narrating, you're probably holding your phone and looking at it as you speak into your phone. You'll be using your selfie camera so you can see yourself and make sure you're well framed, and that's important. But what are you looking at? Yourself. And the lens is not where you are. The lens is over here. So what I've done is put a little piece of tape just above the lens on the screen protector, and that's painter's tape, so it's not going to mess up either the screen protector or the screen. And that gives me something to look at, so I can look like I'm looking at the lens. Because we're kind of used to this view where this is where you're up here and I'm looking at the Zoom meeting. But this distance here is actually much more of an angle. It's kind of distracting. You'll see for yourself. You may have already done it. I know I have. But that little piece of tape, the lifesaver, painter's tape. Camera stabilization. This can be quite expensive. However, it can also be free. Normally, when you're shooting with a phone, your instinct is to hold it kind of like this. You feel like you got a lot of control over all the different angles that this might be going. No matter how stable you think you're holding it, your phone is going to do this a little bit, this a little bit, this a little bit, and this a little bit. And the combination of all of those motions actually really confuses the heck out of the little sensor and the little computer in here that's trying to figure out what your video is supposed to look like. Because these little cameras actually do a lot of software processing of the image. And that's important. That's part of why they are so good. So stabilizing a phone camera, the main purpose of it is to make life easy for the software to make your image look as good as it can. So how can we hold this the best possible way. The simplest thing is to kind of reduce the number of axes that you've got kind of going on here. And the simplest way to do that is to take one hand and turn it to a different side. So you're going to wrap your fingers around the back of the phone, kind of lay it flat on the back like that. And now you see how my wrists are at two different angles. That makes it much less likely that this phone is going to move around as much. Try it yourself. You'll see it's much easier to hold stable this way. You're going to want a tripod at some point because you can only do so much of your own filming if you're stuck holding the phone filming yourself like this. If you ever want to do anything closer or farther away, you're going to need a tripod. But for now, this flat hand method of holding the phone is really going to help.